Carrying on with the protector of the waist of the character, we'll grab the last piece, one of the biggest. Let's grab the frontal protector. And the idea is to use some of the steps we've been working with. First, what we want to do is to generate an extra volume. Let's generate some volumes. We'll create a kind of a border this way. Obviously on the other side as well. And for this, we can use either the masks that we've used for this purpose, or we can convert temporarily some polygroups through ZModeler. Let's hide for a moment what we don't need. Let's start. Remember, for doing this, we simply press Alt. Adjust slightly using Move, so the shape, or the thickness I mean, we get it even. I think like that, and extrude. It doesn't have to be too wide. I think in fact that's too thick. Like that should do. Then next, we'll generate some other extrusions, but in this case, we'll make them towards the middle. The idea is to generate some extrusions like these ones. They are kind of lines, and between lines, we'll have a gap. In this case, we should disable the symmetry. Let's add the last one over here. By using Move. What we'll do is to organize a bit the shape. We don't want everything to look too even, but we want the shape to be deformed gradually. What do I mean? And let's make another one over here. Alright. Using Move, we simply adjust it a little. Alright, I think like that should work fine. These pieces we've just generated, we also extrude them but inwards. I think like this should be alright. The next step is to make the borders more rigid. So let's use Crease for organizing the borders. Crease, edge loop complete, and start adjusting it. What we'll do now is, in order to avoid applying the crease on every single gap, we simply hide the rest of the polygroups, and by having this portion visible, we'll head to Geometry and we'll apply Crease. In that way, we could save some time doing this manually on every single one. Let's head to another polygroup, for instance the one on these cavities. And again Crease. Let's check the result. Let's grab another one. Perhaps I'm going too fast, but that's because I'm using techniques we already know. Over here, what we'll do is, with a selection tool, lasso type, we'll hide the inner portion of these blocks. These are the lateral faces of the cavities we've made. But since this and this belong to the same polygroup, then this crease won't work well. Simply, what we do is, we'll hide these inner portions, the largest ones, and only having these borders visible, we'll apply crease. And let's see what happens. Now, if I apply the smoothing, we'll see we've got this part totally rigid, so we're right on track. The next step now is to add some subdivisions. For the time being, I'll add 4, no more. Start smoothing the edges, they look too rigid. Over here we can use the symmetry. Alright. So far, we've got the basic plates we'll need. The next step is to generate some lines. Remember, we can make them using them standard. We've covered that on the previous video. In this case, I'll increase a bit the subdivision. I'll set the subdivisions on the 5th level as well, although this has gone beyond 1,000,000, but well, we'll be able to optimize that later on. Disable the symmetry and make the following lines. Let's carry on with the next step. And what we'll do is to go around a bit these borders. In order to do so, we'll use the brush inflate. And we'll make these borders more round, more curved. Enable symmetry. Perhaps. Lazy mouse. And start inflating. We can go over some areas, so we get a bit more around the edges. And what we do, again, using DAM standard, we'll adjust these borders over here, these cavities. In this case, let's set a lazy radius of 25 could be. Alright. Again, using inflate. Well, inflate a bit the edges of the extrusion we've made. The idea is to make it more round. Again, using DAM standard. In this case, we won't outline it, but we'll make some inner lines. Over here, it's better to disable stroke, or we simply set it really low. In order to create these lines with more ease, I'm holding Shift. Let's add the last touches. The idea here is that at the moment the piece is too flat. It is too flat, it is kind of at the same level, and we need to make some subtle folds. So with no symmetry, what we'll do is to get some curves. Try not to exaggerate with the curves, because it is supposed to be leather, and it shouldn't bend so much. Well, if we get some imperfections, we'll simply smooth them, and that would be it. Or using the brush edge polish, and we flatten those areas. Let's add the last details. The idea here, let's add another detail. Generate certain cuts. In this case, with no symmetry, so it doesn't look so even. Let's leave this video here, and we'll continue then on the next video.